Hello, good evening. Good evening, man.
Good to greet you after so long, man.
Years after a long time. So, good evening,
In
Dejan, Francis, Richard, deZoysa. I told your name right, right?
yeah, yeah. Thank
So,
you.
yeah, times will go on, but the same certain things don't change.
No, of course not. Of course not. And the spirit that
Yeah,
won't change like lifetimes.
lifetime,
Yeah,
lifetime.
it's
But,
similarity of some of spark or energy that
yeah,
drives us to that
that's the thing.
common place.
Yeah. So, just to give an introduction to the rest of the world, so Dejan, of course, from what I know, was a Formula One prodigy during his small days.
Not
Could have been the
one
next
actually.
Lewis Hamilton.
Formula.
That's what we thought. He will become end up and become the thing under the Formula One driver. Then he did
Thank you.
going for college in
Yeah,
Thomas College Mountaineering and almost won everything. Could have
yeah,
represented Sri Lanka as well, right? And then his English is next level. Right? He could have written a book also from that. And now he's doing something something magical that no one expected to do, right? Right. So that's the thing. I hope my introduction was okay.
um, yes, as you can see.
Yeah. So
Thank you for your kind
no
words
worries, no
and
worries. Since we are doing handy that, and of course, we are almost like brothers and sisters. So I
yeah.
just wanted to know uh, what motivated you to, start this all this what you are doing. The
Well,
earth restoration and all. What motivated you and how did that
yeah, that's
motivation
good.
and that motivation came to you? How it all started? Because it was so different from what I knew you from college days. That's right.
Yeah, I think a good way to begin this would be like those who is to quote from uh, a philosopher. Those who know nothing of nature are, of course, neurotic because they are not adapted to reality. So nature and reality gives you kind of a check, at some point in time. And it brings you to a space and time where you understand truly what is happening and what your what you're doing here in this point of space and time. So I had that experience through all of that history that you articulated of me, and perhaps I was going through some personal crises. Perhaps I was going through the lack of nature. Perhaps I was going through a lot of things. But the time was right for me to kind of first move out of the city. So that's the first thing that happened.
That's why we
I made
weren't able to find you, right? You were missing us early.
I, sometimes you have to switch off. People switch off their phone or people. So for me, it was traversing out of the city to a place where I was kind of, as a kid, I used to go with my uncles and my family to the nature reserves, to the beaches down on the south coast, and we used to sleep on the beaches in the wadias and do fishing and that kind of thing. So actually, at a time I was going through this level of understanding, that was the most idyllic place for me to be. So I couldn't have thought of it any other way. It just happened that I needed to move out of town. And once I moved out of town and invested some of my inheritances and whatever I could uh, liquidate from the city, uh, uh, I was working on a land that I had purchased for myself. So the first time that I had owned land, and I was beginning to realize the responsibility of it, and also the gravity of actually becoming considerably a farmer, living out of the city, trying to live in a sustainable manner. At that time, I hadn't articulated it as, off-grid living or sustainable living, but I was trying to farm and I was trying to live as long as I could off the land.
It came
Little
from the
ways into that,
inside, right? Came from the inside, right? I mean,
yeah, I had to go to that, nature place where I knew as a kid, somewhere wild and somewhere free. And then, I had a little bit of infrastructure. So I decided, okay, what do other people in this area do? Like, I can't live like a Bamunana. So I had to do around what other people were doing. I saw them farming pepper. I saw them farming cinnamon. I saw them farming vegetables. So I supposed, and I thought that I will also farm and I will try to be sustainable, at least in that way, to start off a process of learning. And as I was doing that, I was failing miserably. I was losing a lot of my money that I had kind of received coming out of the city. I was not very economical, especially in my farming practices. I wasn't ecological in my farming practices. So I met this person at that time, Dr. Anil Senanayake, and he
very
taught me a
famous
lot of
in
things.
Sri Lanka, right? Very famous in
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the most senior ecologists in the world. He's US and European educated, but Sri Lankan born, and he has lived most of his life in Sri Lanka. So he's a very discerning and a very keen scientist, amazing. So actually, to the answer to your question is what inspired you to go that way is actually his knowledge. So whatever however we interacted and however he shared whatever he knew and however I invested my time and energy in reciprocating, and being with him. I think that was the most inspiring thing. So without that, I don't think I would have had the inspiration to come this
For
far.
everything, you need to have a mentor, right? So your Dr. Ranil was your
Uh, yeah,
motivator.
yeah, absolutely. And I'm not going to belittle, like, I've had great coaches. I've had, you and I have shared great teachers. One or two at least. Great coaches. But this was a little different. It was like the real, I don't know, it found meaning to my life, and it gave me good guidance towards how to interact with this environment.
Great stuff. You inspire me already. Yes. That's why, you see the background, right? The background and it's green as well. You know, to represent this, we need to have that same connection. Otherwise, how can I, have this discussion? So,
Yeah, I hope that it will be to many,
yeah,
because what we're talking about is something that I envision as a very sustainable future for humans and the planet. And I think you're also trying to uh, get this information out in some way, if not learn and integrate more of it towards your own
so
understandings
based on
and
that,
promote.
you started the Earth Restoration, your company as well,
Yeah.
no? Yeah.
So at that point, I was interacting with Dr. Sena Nayaka, learning about various analog forestry and agricultural principles. And also, he's a very forward-thinking person. So we were thinking about how to realize the value of the ecological services that are the product of a farmland. So it's not only the food or the timber or the or the chutney or the jam that we can make from the farm. It produces oxygen, it
Correct.
produces so all of these things, as we were discussing, because he was so forward thinking, he proposed it as a business. you know. And for me, again, that was inspiring because just having knowledge is, is one thing. The ability to wield that knowledge and to help people come out better, be helpful, is, I think, what was the intention of constructing this as a business. So Earth Restoration came about, and we were originally like, the original thought was, okay, we need green matter to make us wealthy, no matter what. Even for a carrot to be made, it needs photosynthesis. you know, so we were going to value the machine, of photosynthesis, which is like, it can be plant matter, it can be chlorophyll. So we were going to value that on the farmland. So that was the idea, that was the concept that built this company. Of course, it took a lot of research. It's now been 5 years, and we're still coming out of like maybe the fifth or sixth stage of nine in a total readiness scale to bring this product to market. So, and that includes like having financial institutions assess the viability of this product and our methodological approaches and see how it can be replicable. So a lot of things have happened uh, since that first decision was made to interact with the environment and try to make it a sustainable business for humans as well as all beings on this planet.
Sounds like a modern day David Attenborough.
I think, yeah, yeah.
So much things out of my mind, but I can't say it in a call. One
Yeah.
personally, I will say. So,
I hope you're getting some and that it's kind of understandable, because
yeah. So I want that topic. I just wanted to ask you now, with the COVID, people had to with the lockdown and everything. You must have been in this as well. From the same people were locked down and they were at home and they started, thinking about being stuff and being green, and they started planting trees as well, right? So I of course myself, I also was very inspired when I started working one of the banks I worked, because they had this climate change movement. Right? That was
yeah,
really inspiring for me when I worked with them, and it was something that got inspired to me. That's why you might see I like to address this climate change and talk about it.
yes,
Because when my son was born, I planted a few trees at home, and now
right,
I think the benefits as well, because the lemon trees and everything, those are coming. That he is the age of my son now. So when you see those things, you get very inspired. It's like starting a small, you have given a small baby to the world and doing be a man. Right? The tree is like that symbolizes the same thing to me when you come to nature. When it comes to nature as well. Right?
yes.
So
Actually, a tree, it's symbol. What you're saying is very true. It's a great symbol of the relationship between the sun and the energy that translates all of living into this planet. Because without the actions of photosynthesis, without the without a notion of it being valuable for us, it goes on, but it is what is keeping us alive.
yeah,
you know we are breathing every breath, right,
yeah,
that was made by a plant.
by a plant,
So
and we can see the growth now because the heat you
yeah,
see, there's no rain for about 2 months. You can see when you cut down
absolutely,
the climate change,
absolutely,
the
yeah.
Sri Lankans are facing it to the biggest
Well,
effect. Yeah,
yeah. There was an interesting study that was conducted by Stanford University, I believe. You can look it up on the internet. It was a scale. It was a survey to gauge the scale of sensitivity of persons around the world to climate change. And believe it or not, Sri Lanka came out on top of the world in that survey. So that kind of shows that people like Dr. Senanayake and other valuable experts that we have in Sri Lanka have continuously been talking about these, these effects and the potential for us to actually, uh, for us to overcome or prepare ourselves rather for the realities of climate change. So I think the work is ongoing.
What are your
and
thoughts on how we can improve it now? Because the climate change has now become a real big problem now. What are your thoughts on suggestions to improve it as
yeah,
a human, I mean, as an individual? Let's not go for companies and countries, as an individual. You know, people are not talking about these things now. When they feel the heat, when they don't get the rains on time, and when they don't get and everything.
I,
They see a natural
yeah,
disasters only they can remember those. That's right.
yes, the cycles are changing. That's one way of defining climate change. I don't think that it's it's a condition that we can improve, but we can prepare. We must prepare for it. And the infrastructure that is required, like from the fundamental understanding of the natural uh, solution being the best and the bottom line or the lowest hanging fruit approach, there's no better thing to do than plant trees just like you did at home, or anywhere around, wear a tree hat, whatever it needs to be done. That's the lowest hanging fruit to be doing. Now, why people aren't doing that is because it's not economically incentivized, or it's not a viable thing for people to make profit from. And this is the kind of dichotomy that we are facing, and one that we have to look at with an opportunity and a cost uh, effect, where are we going to develop a world where we are going to lose continuously natural productivity and suffer the consequences of climate change, where many people will die of famine, many people will die of heat. It's already becoming quite normal for you to hear on the
Important. You can see that now.
yeah, exactly,
Right.
yeah, on the normal. Today's really hot, be careful. It's that obvious.
Yeah.
People are now saying it, so they're almost like desensitizing people to it as if it is a normalcy, but not really telling people what to do. So the lowest hanging fruit for me is actually to improve our agroeconomic systems, to have more shade tolerant cropping patterns, to have better hyperlocal trade, where people and markets are trading hyperlocally, so that we are not combusting, or we are not reliant on fossil energy to move food about. A lot of those things can come about if we look at like improving and increasing biomass, uh, plants, trees on farms and on the landscape. So that's kind of where my passion is, to build. And, yeah, and that's my solution for how we should prepare towards the impacts of climate change.
So much nice thought. Very nice. So I just want to ask you another thing.
Yeah,
Uh, how did Belly come came up? It's the same thing, right? You
yeah.
started your farm there,
No,
right?
interesting, because Dr. Senanayake is the founder of Bellipola, and he founded Bellipola in 1982. So that was actually before we were born. So he's been talking about these effects for more than 50 years. You know, at a very realistic kind of way, and he has even developed models that kind of show us, okay, this is the way forward. So Bellipola was one of those models. So when I interacted with him, and once we started the process of this business model, or what is required to be done, Belipola was an opportune research center and a field office for our company. So at the time, so it has always been managed by Dr. Senanayaka and his family. But at the time this business was evolved and built up as EarthRestoration in 2017. I was actually privileged and lucky to be working alongside Dr. Senanayaka, and he actually recommended that we, utilize Belipola, the demonstration, as something of a viable demonstration to invite people to actually experience what we are talking, because the experiential
social media and really
the experience of being in that kind of environment, it's like you're going
what you're saying. To come there.
Yes, absolutely. It's like going to a museum, or it's like going to this very rare exhibit, or it's like going into a spaceship Earth. It's one of those rare things, and you really don't internalize it until you get there. And to some people, once you get there also, it's like, so what, but like I'm saying, this business that we are developing, the model of analog forestry or Belipola that we are promoting through this business, it all comes down to the level of understanding that the consumer is going to have into the future. Because right now the consumer is a very shallow and kind of we call it consumer orientation. It's a very shallow kind of perspective that's out there, and bridging new markets always requires that the consumer is made aware that there's proper learning infrastructures in place, and good strategies to evolve the sustainability of these practices. So that's kind of where we are at, and that's how I've been spending my time in the last few years.
Great. So, just for the interest of time, I know it's really late now, or for you as well, stuff that work and everything. I will ask another two questions and just give me briefly your ideas about that. First one,
cool.
Let's say someone like myself or like a normal speaker, we would like to invest. And I heard about the concept about biocoin. If they like to invest and be a part, like I've seen so many projects people say buy this number of trees. Some projects are going buy rubber trees and all for your family. That kind of thing. Biocoins, I want to know about your feedback about biocoins, and someone like to invest there, right? Invest and support what you guys are doing. How can they help, and your thoughts about that?
Actually, the best way is to engage in the access to learning infrastructure that we're developing. And that means that you can visit our website, www.restore.earth, and learn about the ecosystem services and evaluatory processes that we are trying to market. If you become a little more aware of some processes and try to cull your understanding a little better, that's one way that you can participate. At the other end of the spectrum, there is the level of investment that you can buy in at, buy a tree, or invest trees in your own land, or so those are processes which we are right now at a total readiness scale of about 6 of 9. So the platform is close to being open to the public. We have an app that we have developed, which can be utilized both by the investor as well as other stakeholders in this system. And this is something that we will open up as time progresses. It's something that we are troubleshooting at this time. And because we are actually faced with creating this whole new market, and we are up against a consumer who is not aware, it's been a continuous kind of development process. So we've been managing pilots where at a time about 2 years ago, we had a payment gateway open where anyone could actually buy a tree. So we closed that pilot, and we have made those assessments, and we forwarded those to the financial firms and whatnot for various audits. So it's a process, and for the best part, how you can best participate is to inform yourself and connect with us at a manual level. And once we are ready with our platforms, those who have connected will be the first to know how to progress forward.
Great.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. So, anyone can help, and I just want to, before we end the session, I truly appreciate what you do. That's what I just wanted to say. And can you just give a message to everyone who's listening?
Yeah.
People know this problem. People know what is happening, but they forget because of the rat race and all. You are going to everything.
Right. I think the best kind of.
I know
well,
people know about reduce, remove, and recycle. One single usage plastic is not good. People know about this, but there is a bigger message than that. It should be there, right? I mean, more advocacy and more responsibility more than that.
Yeah, I believe that if you should be the change you wish to see in others. Okay, just a simple kind of statement. That's one of my principles. So always kind of always be kind and thoughtful and generous, and to have that level of capacity to give, I think a level of commitment has to be achieved. Find that commitment in yourself to make that change and be that change that you wish to see to be seen in others. So that's kind of the simplest way or message that I could give out, because being a part of my experience and my transformation into this realm of, I would say, business. Because if I take business, if I analyze like banking or whatever, ecosystem services management and banking are coming into the foray of now financial services and financial asset management. People are talking about it all over the place. So everything is interrelated, and I think that if you make the necessary changes, then you will realize new wealth and new value in your life. And no better place to find that than running back to nature, man.
That's kind of like poetic. You wrote a poem.
I guess it's like that, no?
Very nice, very nice. Superstar.
Cool.
So, Dejan, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr.
Hey,
no man.
I hope that you will find good inspiration to people, and I hope that you will get a lot of feedback also. And let's try and organize that feedback based on this episode or based on this chat we have had. Try to integrate them into our ecosystem of biocurrency and global futures.
Great. Thank you very much, Dejan, for your time. Thank you so much. So we'll catch up again soon. Wish you all the very best.
Thank you, Chami. I will.
Bye bye.
All the best.
See you. Thank you.